How do I find a new job? How can I make a career change? And the biggest question of all, can I really find a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to be at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I get what companies are looking for when hiring top talent. What that means for you is an unmatched combination of insider knowledge and the best kept secrets about making heart-based career changes and navigating the ups and downs of job searching in today's world of work. Whether you're a recent graduate navigating the job market for the first time or a seasoned professional ready for a career change, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to be challenged and inspired to move beyond your self-doubt and take the right next steps towards landing a career you love. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm Jen Smith, your host, and today we are talking about 5 misconceptions that many people have about making a career change. So I dug up bunches of examples and stories to share with you. And of course, I have strategies to help you move beyond these misconceptions. Making a career change can be both exciting and challenging, but it can also come with many myths that prevent people from even pursuing a fresh start. So let's begin by talking through the 5 career change misconceptions I hear most often. Myth number 1 is that it's too late to make a career change. One of the biggest misconceptions about making a career change is that it's too late to do so. People often believe that it's too difficult to change paths once they've established themselves in a particular career. However, that is just not true. It is never too late to make a change. Plenty of people have done so successfully. And I'll tell you that since I began career coaching, I noticed a trend. More and more people are reaching out to me for help with a career change at the time of a milestone birthday. So I hear comments like, I'm turning 25 or 30 or 40 or 50, and I've always wanted to do this, and now's the time. Birthdays can definitely trigger intense reflection. They can jumpstart action. They provide us permission to take a chance. And birthdays are also a natural time to make new resolutions. And frankly, I love being a tiny part of big career transitions and birthday celebrations. But guess what? You don't have to wait for a big milestone birthday to make a career change. It is never too late, my friends. So with that, I wanted to share 3 famous career changers you may or may not have heard about. So the first one is Julia Child, who you might recognize as a famous television personality and cookbook author. And she began to pursue her career in cooking in her 40s. Before that, she was a copywriter and a research assistant. So imagine that change, going from a copywriter and a research assistant to a beloved television personality and cookbook author. Then we have Vera Wang, who you might know as a famous fashion designer. She's mostly known for her bridal gowns and her more high-end fashion lines. And before she became a fashion designer, she worked as a figure skater and a fashion editor. So she didn't launch her fashion line until she was in her 40s. And my favorite is Colonel Sanders, who is the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, which, if you don't know, is one of the most successful fast food franchises in the world. And he founded KFC in his 60s. Before he founded KFC, he worked in a variety of jobs, things that included working on a farm. He worked as a steamboat pilot and a gas station operator. And it wasn't until his 60s where he began to focus his recipe for fried chicken and opened his first franchise. So these are just a couple examples. There are countless more examples from famous folks and including people within my community. So a career change is possible at any age, and it is never too late to get out there and pursue a career path that you love. Myth number 2 is that it's too difficult or too risky to make a career change. So, of course, this is going to depend on your situation. Although I've spoken with many job seekers who often fear the unknown and the potential instability of making a change, and it holds them back from even trying. So, I will tell you, especially within my heart-based career change philosophy, is that a career change can be a calculated risk as long as you have proper planning and research to go along with it. So assessing both the risks and the rewards of a new career path is essential, and then creating a plan to mitigate those potential adverse outcomes. So a key piece of heart-based career planning is gathering as much information as possible to make the most informed decisions. So let me give you a real life example. So I'm going to share Alex's story. So Alex worked in sales for a large corporation for over 15 years, and he enjoyed a lot of success in his role, but just was getting unfulfilled and burnt out from that constant pressure to meet monthly and quarterly and annual sales targets. So we worked together on identifying his strengths that he actually enjoys using. We dug into his interests and particularly his core and lifestyle values. And then after that reflection, we came up with some potential new paths for him to explore. And one of those was marketing. So from there, it was time for him to gather information. And while he was attending a company conference, he made it a point to talk with one of his colleagues that he knew who worked in marketing. They chatted for a while, and Alex found himself fascinated with branding, market research, and creative campaigns. And he realized that marketing could be his next best role. It combined his love for communication, storytelling, and strategy. And he had a really interesting view of marketing from being in sales. So he knew that they tend to work hand in hand. So at first, Alex was really hesitant to leave his stable career in sales to start fresh in marketing. And the financial element was a big piece of this hesitation. So his role in sales was commission-based, and it was he had a bonus structure that could be very rewarding depending on how hard he worked and his sales for that month or that quarter. However, he could not shake the feeling that he wanted to try something different. So to help validate his idea and feelings even more, he ended up enrolling in a brand marketing course, which helped him validate his interest, and he felt even more confident to open up a job search. So after several months of gathering information, he decided to make it happen and landed his first marketing job at a small startup. So his base salary ended up to be more than he expected. And it felt really comfortable for him knowing how much money was coming in each month versus that variable component of a commission-based salary plan. And the pressure of that pay for performance was essentially gone. So his work involved creating successful marketing campaigns, developing new products, and building brand awareness for the startup, and he loves it. So for Alex, gathering that information in the beginning, talking to others, taking a class, all of that helped him mitigate the risk, which paid off. Misconception number 3 is that a career change means starting over or starting at the bottom or starting from scratch. So people interested in making a change think that they will have to apply for entry-level jobs even after working in the professional world for 5 or 7 or 10 years. And they often feel like the skills and experiences they gained in their current career won't transfer to a new field. However, many skills and experiences are highly transferable and they can be leveraged in a new path. Identifying and highlighting those transferable skills and experiences is essential when making a change. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes it might be necessary to start at a lower level in a new field, but it's important to remember that transferable skills and experiences can be leveraged to help you move up quickly. Also, a lot of times job seekers think that the skills they learned volunteering or outside of work or even early in their career don't count. But guess what? If you did them once, you can do them again, and they are fair game. I'll tell you, when I moved into my role, one of my roles in corporate, my last role in corporate actually, was leading a team of college recruiters. And when I moved into that role, I had to reference experiences from my first job in HR, where I crafted a college recruiting strategy for frontline supervisor roles, and I led a division-wide internship program. So I leveraged that when I went into conversations and interviews for the role leading a team of college recruiters. Just because they were years ago, I didn't discount them. And so many of those strategies applied to the role that I was interviewing for, and it worked. And that role, leading the college recruiting team, was one of my most fun and rewarding jobs I ever had throughout my corporate career. Okay, so far we talked about 3 myths. One, that it's too late to make a change or you're too old to make a change. Number 2, it's too risky to make a change. And number 3, I'll have to start at the bottom. So myth number 4 that I want to talk about is that making a career change means taking a pay cut. So often people believe that making a career change means they must take a pay cut. However, that is not always true. So sometimes a career change might lead to a higher salary or better benefits. And this is where knowing what you want in terms of your core and lifestyle values comes into play, because there might be a trade-off decision that you have to make in these situations. So earlier you heard the story about Alex. He didn't want the pressure of meeting those sales targets. And so he switched into marketing, and he didn't have that endless earning potential from a commission-based salary, but the regular salary and the ability to use his creativity in marketing met his career intentions. Another example is Teresa. So Teresa had been working as an operations leader for over a decade. Despite her career success, she was just tired of leading people and wanted to make a career change into an individual contributor role. So she had always been interested in project management, and she had recently completed the PMP certification at her company, but she was hesitant to make the switch because she thought she would have to take a pay cut, especially going from leading people to an individual contributor. But despite those fears, she decided to take a chance, and to her surprise, she was offered a position and was delighted to discover that her salary was actually higher than her current job. So let me share a little bit about how she did this. So first, she had a ton of transferable skills and experiences that were valued in her new field. So for example, her experience in the world of operations provided a strong foundation and understanding of the day-to-day work. And as an operations leader, she was constantly problem solving, which is essentially what a project manager does. And so these transferable skills were highly valuable when she explained how she would manage projects, specifically knowing what questions to ask and finding solutions much quicker. Secondly, she negotiated her salary effectively during the job offer process. So throughout the process, she highlighted her strengths, demonstrated how she could add value to the organization. She researched the industry, she researched the role, she researched the salaries based on her location and her level of experience. And when it came time for the offer, she felt confident initiating that conversation about a higher salary, which resulted in a higher salary offer than she actually expected. And then lastly, the demand for skilled project professionals in her industry was high. So that led to actually higher salaries for those in the field. And the fact that she had that PMP certification really elevated her. So despite those initial fears she had about taking a pay cut, Teresa found that her new job actually offered more opportunities for career growth, financial stability than her previous role ever did. And she learned that sometimes taking a risk can lead to greater rewards. So this is proof to me that it's not uncommon for people to change careers and earn a comparable or higher salary in their new field, especially when they have those transferable skills and experiences. So myth number 5 is that a career change means going back to school. This is the number one misconception I hear most often. Changing careers means I have to return to school to acquire a new degree. However, my friends, there are so many ways to acquire new skills and education nowadays that do not require a formal degree. You can take online courses, you can attend workshops, there's multiple webinars and online learning opportunities. You can read a book, you can listen to podcasts. There are so many ways to learn new skills and new information. The trick here is to do the research and understand the skill requirements for your new path, and then create a plan to acquire them. So for this example, I want to share a story from my beloved Maria, who wanted to work in the tech industry. And her first thought was to look into different degree programs. She quickly realized that going back to school would be expensive and time-consuming, and she was super discouraged and wasn't sure if it was even worth the investment. So when we met, I encouraged her to gather more information before talking herself out of it. So the key for her was attending local meetups. So she attended a couple local tech meetups, and that led to working on this small project in this technology incubator. And she did this during her free time, which did a couple things. It built her network and helped her craft a portfolio of work. So after several months of networking in this self-study in this incubator program, Maria landed an interview for a tech job at a growing startup. And in this interview, she was very honest about her lack of formal education in the field, but she highlighted her experiences, her new portfolio, and really showcased enthusiasm and excitement for technology. And guess what? To her surprise, she was offered the job. So I share this story to help you realize that there are many paths to making a successful career change without formal education. In my mind, anyone can make a career change with hard work, determination, and a willingness to learn. Especially nowadays with things moving so quickly, I believe in this so much. I'm going to dedicate an entire episode to upskilling and reskilling and having that learning mindset. So if you're interested in that, tune in next week. So now we've talked through the 5 misconceptions. I want to summarize the strategies to help you overcome the misconceptions about making a career change. And you've heard these themes throughout the stories I shared, but I want to summarize them for you. So strategy number 1 is to do your research. Don't assume or talk yourself out of anything until you dig into it. Learn as much as you can about the new path that you're interested in. Read job descriptions, read salary reviews, look into education and skill requirements and trends in your new role or your new industry. This includes talking to humans that do the work. So connect with people in your new field, attend industry events, seek out opportunities to make new connections. If education is a concern, research alternative education options. Returning to school is not the only way to acquire new skills and knowledge. If salary is a concern, research specific industries and locations. And remember, you can negotiate salary. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Research the market value for a new role. Use your transferable skills and experiences to help you justify that higher salary. You also might consider alternative quote unquote compensation related to your core and lifestyle values. So if a higher salary is impossible, consider alternative forms of compensation like flexible work environment or extra vacation time or stock options or something else that's going to be that trade-off for you in terms of your core and lifestyle values. So strategy number 1 is to do your research. Strategy number 2 is to identify your transferable skills and experiences. So these are the skills and experiences you've gained in your current career or your previous roles that are transferable to a new field or a new role. These can be hard skills, they can be soft skills. Some examples might be communication skills, communicating effectively across multiple different organizations or globally. Problem-solving skills, leadership skills, organizational skills, technical skills, creativity skills, sales skills, analytical skills. These are all things that can be transferable. You just have to know how to pick them out of work that you've done and then be able to articulate them in your new role or industry. You always want to make sure that you show growth and development through your transferable skills and experiences. And then, of course, emphasize your achievements. So if you were like me discussing your early career opportunities and experiences or volunteer experiences, emphasize your achievements when you demonstrated those experiences. This can showcase your ability to be successful in a new path. The bottom line is that you can make a strong case for why you're a good fit for a new job or career path by showcasing your transferable skills, your transferable experiences, and your learning mindset. Lastly, strategy number 3 is to give it a try. How will you know that you're going to love it if you don't try it? You can totally do this alongside a day job. I know it's not easy when your job and your family and your friends take up a lot of your time, but it's totally doable. So if you're interested in making a career change into writing, start freelancing, build a portfolio. If you're interested in making a change into teaching or ed tech, start an online tutoring side gig to gain that experience and build your reputation. If you're interested in making a change to graphic design, start a side gig designing logos or websites or doing marketing. You can do this and offer services on all different kinds of tech platforms like 99 Designs or even Design Crowd comes to mind. The bottom line here is that giving it a try can be a great way to gain experience, test out a new path before committing to it full time, and it can also, as a bonus, provide additional source of income while you're making the transition to a new career. So in conclusion, making a career change can be a daunting decision, but it's essential to be aware of the myths and misconceptions that prevent people from pursuing their desired paths. So it is not too late. You are not too old. If it feels too risky, gather as much information as you can to mitigate the risk. You won't have to start at an entry level when you showcase your transferable skills and experiences. And remember that sometimes making a career change may lead to a higher salary or better benefits. This is where knowing what you want in terms of your core and lifestyle values comes into play. Lastly, you do not need to return to school for an extensive degree. There are so many ways to upskill, reskill, and learn new things. By doing proper research, planning, and networking, a career change can be a successful and fulfilling experience, my friends, because you deserve a long, radiantly happy, and healthy career. So next week, I'll be back with an episode dedicated to upskilling and reskilling, specific ways to level up and learn new skills without returning to school for an entire degree. As always, notes from this episode can be found on the Flourish Careers blog. And if you enjoyed this episode and would like to support the show, please consider recommending it to a friend. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week.